Welcome back to Tiberium Hanger. This is Mike. I'm coming at you with another video, and this time I want to talk to you about vintage Kenner Star Wars Hoth playsets. And the reason that it's even pertinent at all whatsoever is simply because Hasbro really doesn't put out playsets. I mean, we're starting to see a semi move to it with HasLab, and I don't really count the BB-8 thing that they made into a playset as something that would work with the vintage line or the original trilogy movies. So, which is where it's what I care about the most and what I go after the most. And if I happen to get one of those other ones, that's not the point. The point is where are the play sets for vintage, and well, you're gonna have to buy vintage if you want to get with the original trilogy. So anyway, we're gonna get started with the Probe Droid and Turret playset. So the Probe Droid and Turret playset is something that I really didn't have a bunch of knowledge about it, and I know I bought them and tossed them in a box or whatever. But I did go after extra turrets simply so I could make a nice little scene here. And I know that it just seemed like it was a good turret that was made. And you can make a gigantic scene. So my goal with it would be to have a whole bunch of these sets and have a whole bunch of turrets and make it look pretty authentic. And the other thing, which I don't even have yet, and I'm starting to work on getting those, is the little mini rig that's like a radar dish would work well in this scene. But anyway, moving into it, let's start talking about this turret. Now I got some stickers and decals and stuff that are kind of coming off of it, but really coming off now. Let's glue that back on in a minute. But anyway, it's got a nice clicky ratchet sound to it. It's really cool. You could put a figure in the top, or you could just leave no figure in it and just have it operate on its own. I kind of like these little hatches and stuff. It's just an extra play feature and a place to put your figure. So next thing I want to point out is all of these little foot pegs. They've got foot pegs everywhere on this thing, and it's interesting too, and you're going to see too, there's more on this small one than there is on the bigger one, but that's just the way it is. But you can have this little scene of stormtroopers invading, and you can try to catch the box. There's the box over there, if you can kind of see the way the scene's set up. Which is kind of one of the weird things that I do. When I set up a scene, I kind of try to make it look like a vintage Kenner box and the way I had it set up. But when you look at something like this, I mean, they had enough characters and figures and stuff that you could pretty much fill out everything you needed in a scene. So, next play feature. Okay, so the next play feature is you put a gun in Han's hand, and I really don't store my figures and their guns in the same place, so I didn't grab the guns. I just don't want to lose them because they're actually real expensive for an extremely small piece of plastic. But he can turn this lever real quick, and Han will turn and shoot it, and it'll fall off or explode. So let's look at this thing real quick. You can take the head off to boom, it exploded. And he's got his little tentacles. Now, you could sort of make the arms do stuff, but not very well. And then shake it a little bit, and they don't hold well. It's very primitive. But you know what? It is an actual probe droid, and I mean, for the time, it looked like the movie. It looked pretty good like the movie. Now, I went specifically after getting, I think I have 5 of these. I need one more head or something to make my 5th one. But my kids really like the probe droid in the Star Wars Battlefront game. Like, we drop a probe droid in it, the first Battlefront game. You drop the probe droid in it, just like shoots people and you get points and kills and stuff. And so I was like, well, I don't want to feel bad about breaking one. So get a whole bunch of extras. All right, there it is. It's standing for a second. I want to do a comparison to the 90s version, which is right here at this angle. And I think the 90s one, they did a really good job on it. And this is another thing that people give a whole bunch of crap about. They talk trash about how the 90s Power of the Force 2 figures sucked, and they were too like bulked up like superheroes, and they don't like them. They don't meet the aesthetic. Well, this thing meets the aesthetic pretty well. In fact, I think they re-released it again, and the only thing they changed was some paint apps. And then there's like a missile that goes in there or something. I have a mint in the package one somewhere around here, I don't know. But I like getting loose ones. Of course, you know, I only picked this up for my kids to play with, so but I'm doing a little comparison. So it has some great paint apps on it. Hey, let's break it at the same time. And then when you lift the head up, a gun comes out, and then there's a lever on the bottom, right there. When you push that lever, the head pops up. Before we move on to the next playset, I just really want to talk about these Tomtoons. And one of the things is that you find that getting the saddle and the reins are actually kind of hard. It's actually hard to come by. They're very seldom missing. So, but I want to do a comparison with a more modern one. So we're going to kind of compare a modern, this is the 2002 version, to a vintage, and I'm just kind of taking the saddle, well, this is one of the many that I have that don't have a saddle or reins or whatever. They're just there for fun. But one of the things that you can see is they actually molded in the saddle on that. And I mean, that could go one of two ways, but I think it looks great. But, you know, the realism of having the saddle and reins that are real saddle and reins, I think that has some charm to it in a way. But now these are Tomtoons, not to be mistaken for TomTom or the GPS. I use a Garmin, and I'm sure most of you just use your phone. My wife just uses her phone, but I don't like using my phone for 1,000 things. But anyway, that's off topic. Looking at this old one, it has some play features. You put the figure in here. You have to put him in there because his legs, well, they're not super articulated to go around them, which they are nowadays. You can do that. This is the split belly, and you have a split belly and non-split belly. I think I have like a handful of split bellies, and the rest are non. And speaking of value, their value is the same, actually. You would think that one with a feature like this is more valuable or something, but it's not. And that would be stick Luke in his belly, or whoever you want to stick in there, I guess. I don't know if you can stick a Gamorrean guard in there, though. This guy has no play features other than you stick your figure on it and play, but he just looks so good. I mean, I like modern interpretations, and when I do a scene, I'll probably throw one new one in with a whole bunch of vintage just for fun. So next up I want to talk about this Imperial Attack Base, and I think that this Imperial Attack Base is actually a pretty cool little set. It's flimsy, it's gimmicky, and but it has some cool features. So we'll talk about the first feature. You push this lever and it makes this little cave explode. Next feature is there's a foot peg for you to put Han's foot in, or whoever you want to operate this cannon. And here we are shooting through the cannon. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Lots of fun. The next feature is really strange. There's no foot peg there. So you push this button back here to, I guess, make him get shot and fall down. Oh! Or whatever. The last feature here, there's a little button that kind of makes this whole section, you know, pew pew, it's getting shot, and it makes it explode with the touch of a button. So, isn't that a lot of fun? I would expect if they made a playset like this today, they would have much better features and electronic sounds and a whole bunch of other stuff to it. But then again, if they made it today, they'd probably be charging you $100 for a playset this size, which is about a 16-inch wide by about an 8-inch deep size. It's not that big, and they'd be trying to charge you $100 for this thing. You know, so you can probably get one of these for $20-30 off of eBay Premier Complete, or do what I do and I just buy like 2 or 3 of them, piece me together. Because I got more. I just pull parts to make these complete. And you know, that's kind of how I've done things all along. I was more quantity than quality. Now I'm getting into quality. But I've got one more thing to show you. And that's this thing here. This is the Hoth Micro. It's not called Micro Machines. It's like the micro version of the Hoth playset. And it does have some play value to it. And I gotta say, this is one of the least play value playsets that they have. But first thing I want to show you here is this door. It opens and closes, and you can just like true Star Wars fashion, like that is cool. Like you think about if they did a door that opened and closed like that, even in the vintage line on one of the bigger play sets. But my heart lies with 3 3/4 inch, so like my caring about this is very, very low, so I don't really collect these. It's just if it happens to show up in a collection, I get it. But let me show you another feature. When you move this lever, you move the ion cannon, and it, you know, can do what it needs to do. It will shoot a couple of shots with your ion cannon so that the rebel troops can get away. You know, it's away. So anyway, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. The reason I even did this is because I'm looking to do a whole bunch of other videos, and I'm just actually looking for parts, and I just came across a bin full of these and said, you know what, let's get all these cleaned up, do a video about these, and then I'll pack it all away till I'm ready to make my giant scene. I need a couple more pieces. But anyway, Titanium Hanger, out.